Have at me, bro. This is Omega 99 Nemesis on the 12th episode of my Dark Souls 2 lore play. Alright, so after summoning Isaac and Wesley, these two people are extremely useful. We're going to go and find Kale the Cartographer. Also, a personal shout out as a thank you to Alonis10 and Anika on Xbox Live, as they were the two phantoms who helped me in my previous episode with the Valley and the Pursuer, respectively. Anikas was extremely valuable fighting the Pursuer, and I honestly didn't think he would survive the fight, though he did very well. He was extremely helpful. Also consider that Alonis was very helpful in dealing with the Valley, as, well, honestly, they were more helpful than a lot of players I've dealt with in the past. Alright, so now we're going to have Isaac and Wesley backing me up. Wesley plays as a cleric class, while Isaac is clearly a swordsman, which is ironic, as I previously said I didn't like the cleric class, but I will rectify my point and say that it's not bad if you're looking to co-op specifically, especially as a phantom, as you can then heal your World Master. That's where the heal miracle really shines through. It's really one of the few ways you can definitively heal your host when he's wounded. So after fighting these two guys and helping Isaac deal with them, I nearly get killed. That would have been embarrassing, to be fair. That's when Wesley comes in and heals my character with a heal miracle. Alright, now we're going to go and find Kale the Cartographer after clearing out a couple of the Hollowed Soldiers. Kale can be located to my right in this big chasm with a bunch of scaffolding and walls and such. There, you can fall and die very easily, and there's a lot of archers to make your life hard. Right now, I'm just farming souls and equipment from these guys, as well. It's a very good way to get the souls, in all honesty. I'm also going to proceed onward and get the White Sign Soapstone, the big one, not the small one, as I've already got the small. And from there, we're going to hopefully get to the boss of the area and a little further. Now, what you want to do is you want to go here and then fall down here, but be careful not to miss that or you'll fall to your death. These enemies use a lot of bows in this area because that's where they can't get you and where they can really mess you up. If they shoot you with a bow at a wrong time, you can get overwhelmed by your opponents. So after collecting this torch, I'm going to proceed down here and collect some souls and items from a couple of infantry below us. The covetous silver serpent ring I picked up from Malencio will help me acquire more souls as well to strengthen my character. And then from here, this is ultimately where Isaac does fall and die, I believe. Or at the very least, she was defeated in some way. Regardless, she was incredibly helpful in this area and took a lot of stress off of me and Wesley. I apologize, I lost some more footage again. I constantly do. This is such an annoying problem, but I am going to go ahead and come back because I lost Kale's dialogue. So with Midas, I will return at some point to correct this mistake, and I'll show you how to properly get to him, I hope. Now, I'm ultimately going to accidentally mess up the dialogue, so I'm not even going to bother talking under him. I'm going to just talk over him because I'm just skipping the dialogue now, as you see, because I messed it up. He's going to give us the key to that mansion in Majula, which has a couple of things I plan on checking on later. That'll be the next episode or after. So anyways, he has the house key and so forth and blah blah blah. So after done talking to Kale, I'm going to return back when I came after picking up an item at the end of this path. This is roughly where I recall Isaac dying off. I think she fell down a cliff or something, or just died when she was out of my line of sight. So, I'm going to follow Wesley over to a ladder that allows us to climb the wall. This wall actually is where one of the archers shot at us from while we were getting across the crevasse, and likewise, there is an item or so I still need to pick up while I'm here, one of which being a Titanite shard, though it seems like the archer was already dealt with by Wesley and Isaac. So, unless I've already picked up the Titanite shard, that might have already happened as I went, and though I think I haven't, as there's an enemy down there, as I recall. Yeah, so I still need to get the Titanite shard. I ended up rolling off the thing and landing next to him and he just didn't notice, he just stood there and let me kill him. Yeah, so Isaac died while I was getting that backstab. I don't know if she plunged to her death and what. I think that's probably the most likely solution. Oh, it's a pool of water. There's water here, so death by drowning. That's a lovely thought, right? Alright, so now I'm going to proceed back and we're going to advance further into the Forest of Fallen Giants rather than backtracking before the pursuer, or as I like to call him, the Lost Elric brother. Though I am going to make the dumb mistake of actually backtracking down here thinking, oh, there's something I gotta do, but no. I return back this way. Wesley's going to stick around for a bit longer and give me some support as well. I'm also going to come back through here and pretty much kill the enemies who lie around here, as they're going to be better off out of my way. So proceeding down this path, you'll find this is where I left to get to the pursuer. I think the ladder was missed. Yeah, these are enemies I dealt with. Like a few of them play dead. Only one of them is actually active when you come in here. This one's playing dead as well, and as you see, I have to do a jump attack with my rapier just to hit it. So I decided to pull out my scimitar to expedite it with vertical strikes. These corpses can really get the jump on you if you let them, so of course kill them when you see a corpse lying there, especially if you can't just walk through them. That'll be a big giveaway. Now, it appears Wesley killed this guy, but he was also playing dead. Alright, so climb up this ladder and you'll be back at the bonfire as I've already established. I'm also now going to try and trigger a couple of summon signs while I'm here. I tried to resummon Isaac, but unfortunately I couldn't get her for whatever reason. Then there's this guy who I couldn't get as well, and for some strange reason, oh yeah, I didn't use the big summon sign because I was hoping to have a shade help me, not a phantom, forgetting they upped the summon sign. The number of summons you can have at any given time, they upped it by 1, so now I can actually have 3 people with me as opposed to 2. It'll take getting used to, but for a moment I'm actually observing my options and carelessly letting Wesley get wailed on, so I end up helping him. I also take a bad hit here, yeah, these guys are very good at overpowering you. You want to take these guys out as quickly as possible. If you can't, take one out and then take another out, but if you can, multiple kills is preferable. You can also see this guy trying to remember to cast a miracle for me, yeah. That heal miracle definitely comes in handy when you're helping another player, and it can also come in handy with PvP as you can use these miracles, though I think you shouldn't be allowed to. I don't know, it just seems cheap. Now, I'm actually going to run around here to make sure they didn't place any new enemies in this vicinity of the area. Alright, now that we've cleared the area, I'm going to pick up the Great Soul Arrow sorcery, a soul item, and a blue shield of some sort. It's probably not that sophisticated. I'll get to the lore of the item at some point. Right now, I'm going to try and get some gameplay in. Alright, so we're going to scroll down this ladder, and from here, we're going to see a chest here. This chest is booby-trapped. For me, it has gas, but it'll rotate, depending on who you are, between gas, crossbow bolts, and so on. So don't count on this always being a poison gas you can roll around. If it's a crossbow, use your shield to block the arrows. And if you don't, like I do, attempt to evade. Specifically focus on getting behind the chest as opposed to getting away from it. Now, I used a Pharaoh's contraption using a Pharaoh's lockstone to open up this pathway that leads to a titanite slab and a chloranthi ring. Chloranthi rings increase your stamina regeneration, which once again allows you to do more than you would have otherwise. I also wear my rings in a certain formation, so you'll see me constantly swapping them into different positions. Now I'm going to go and smack this door because there are 3 enemies in here. By attacking this door, the enemies will respond and open it, though it has limited success in the past. Now these enemies are just some hollowed soldiers with spears and halberds. Maybe one of them has a stock. I don't think any of them actually had a sword. After dealing with these guys, you can go into the chest to pick up a life ring, which has the exact same effect of the blue seal, which all it does is it boosts your max health. And unless you have the +1 or 2 version of it, chances are the blue seal is about as good as the regular life ring. Alright, so now we're going to climb up this ladder and go speak to good old Mild-Mannered Pate and start his quest. Unlike Kale the Cartographer, I actually remembered to do Mild-Mannered Pate's dialogue, so we'll be able to listen to this completely. Here he is, and you might also note that his name might sound familiar if you play DS1.
Traveling all alone in these treacherous times. Well, I hope you have a very good reason. Oh, hogwash. Who am I to judge? My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a sort of treasure hunt, you might call it. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther. There's treasure in there for certain, but the entrance locks from behind. I saw the same design earlier, and it's the same contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see, and he insisted that he go inside first. The rather brusque fellow tried to swipe the lid for himself, but it trapped him inside. I still have the gent's ring. I do hope he wasn't harmed. I'll leave this one to you. I'm worried about what might be inside. I'll leave this one to you.
Alright, so now we're going to go in here and deal with a massive ambush of hollowed soldiers. Now, understand that this gate will only seal if the host enters, at least as I recall. So if you're a phantom, like Wesley is here, you should definitely just go on in and draw the enemies out, as this will save your host a lot of trouble. Granted, Wesley's a cleric, and I don't hold it against him that he didn't, and nor is it not understandable to go in with the host. But at the same time, if you can handle it, go on in, because you'll be saving the host a lot of trouble. Especially considering that, well, dying here is an extremely frustrating thing, because you have to take the long way to get in. But I was actually surprised, because it seems like rather before, where there was a sparsely dotted series of ambushes, they just put everything in here and threw it all at you at once. After opening this invisible door, you'll find a sorcery catalyst and a herb. You see, this is what I mean when I say that the sorcerer is like the technically second worst class to start with, as you've got its catalyst not even 30 minutes after the beginning of the game, a relatively powerful sorcery available a little bit earlier before that, and even the sorcery you start off with, able to buy it from Valencia.
Well, I see you managed to escape. I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh, but you should take this. It allows undead to call out for help to one another across the fissures between worlds. With luck, somebody will lend you a hand. Well,
Alright, so anyways, I'm going to waste a few moments speaking to Pate again. This is pretty much kickstarting the beginning of Pate's quest, as well as that of another character that we'll encounter at some point. Anyways, you probably heard the sound of weapons striking something. We're about to see what that was. See, Valencia claimed that trees grew from the corpses of giants during this great war. And we're later going to see what these giants looked like. So after killing this hollowed soldier who played dead like he did in the original version, we're going to see two soldiers striking at this tree that, although I haven't taken, I don't know, like yet. Oh, by the way, double backstab! Anyways, after we do that, this tree, I don't know if I even take a moment to look at it, but it actually resembles the giants that were fought by Drangleic towards the Silver Age of the Kingdom. Now, at that point, you see the soldiers swinging at an inanimate tree. That's because these trees were giants. I mean, it adds up. I mean, before it was conjecture, but the fact that the undead strike at it were undead focused on fighting the giants, why would they be striking at trees? We know that hollows, when they become hollow, still perform acts that they were familiar with as humans. For example, we've seen undead and hollowed just lounging about on the edge of crevasses or just relaxing. Oh, by the way, Wesley died. I'm afraid this is where we say goodbye to good old Wesley. But either way, we know that these undead are capable of practicing their natural functions automatically. With that in mind, yes, I think that there's no doubt these trees are the giants' remains, their legacy. And much as the giants rage in death against Vendrick, which we will see evidence of this later, the undead that fought the giants that suffered at their hands rage against their corpses, or rather, the things that came from their corpses. Alright, so at this point, I believe I'm going to basically collect the item that was on that ledge, and then I'm going to do some backtracking to get some torches lit. So yes, basically this fortress was where Drangleic dealt its last stand against the giants, where the war eventually did conclude, but where the heaviest of the fighting took place, where Drangleic effectively exhausted all of its momentum and effectively began its slow spiraling decline. Anyways, what else we know is that there were traps here, probably because they were hoping to trap giants in with that gate, probably. It would make sense, actually. Trapping a giant in a containment where maybe they could be studied or targeted and attacked. But for all intents and purposes, the fort did fall into disrepair, and the soldiers, either suffering on death already or whatever, became hollowed. So now I'm going to spend some time trying to summon some phantoms to back me up, because I like co-oping. It's one of my favorite aspects of this game. Pate also stated that his friend actually perished, or like this guy tried to backstab him and so forth, and justifying why he has the guy's ring and so forth. Now, I will state this, Pate is not necessarily what he seems and is involved in probably one of the more brilliant storytelling elements of the game. However, I will also state it isn't as good as it should be. Alright, now that I've lit the two torches I meant to light and summoned Doc Zoo as a phantom, he's dressed in the import set with a pair of castices to fight in melee with. We're going to now proceed through this doorway that had two guys playing dead that got killed when the crossbows lit the fire barrels around them. Here there's a life gem and some homeward bones and two soldiers playing guard duty at this doorway. There's a fog wall here, but after killing these guys, after I take a couple hits from these guys, Doc Zoo will get behind one and kill him rather quickly, actually. It's pretty cool. Then I drop this guy with a backstab myself. Alright, so there's a surprise here as well. Originally there was a guy playing dead, but instead that's waiting for me. You could see the oh crap coming out of my lips when I see that thing waiting behind me. Me and Doc Zoo were able to take it out before it could do any legitimate harm. I then picked up an amber herb from this corpse and then proceeded to retrieve the halberd. Normally there was just a guy at the end of this and a guy waiting above to drop down, so you'd be flanked. Instead, they replaced this with a group of just basic soldiers waiting right there. You can see them right there. I originally thought there were just two up there, but actually there's like 4 or 5 of them waiting. Infantry, though. None of them are actual soldiers. And, yeah, they're slow to react, actually, which is an advantage, because you can just knock them off as they fall in a domino formation. Like Doc Zoo did there, I even getting close to take out 1 or 2. Or maybe I just waited for them, I don't know. So yeah, this guy managed to get down, so I dealt with him and his friend here. So after these guys were dealt with, and they weren't that hard at all, we go through this fog wall. You might notice that I dealt with a crystal lizard back at the beginning of this video. Well, originally that lizard was actually in this area, and we had to race to kill him quickly. That's actually normal with crystal lizards in general. This guy is where he was in the original version of the game as well. Now here we're going to pick up a wooden shield. Oh no, large leather shield, my bad. It's a shield, and it's pretty good to start with. Doesn't block all the harm you take, but it is a decent shield to start with. It's not as good as the Drangleic shield, but it's not nearly as heavy. After retrieving some fire arrows and unlocking this gate, I'm going to climb up this ladder, because we're at the beginning of the area again, kind of like another shortcut. We're going to go and light that torch there before proceeding to the actual boss. The Handyman. Although a good friend of mine calls him Sphincter Face, and to be fair, I can definitely see why. He is the last giant. And also a character of rather significant relation to the events of this story. Although in a post-mortem sort of way. So I'm going to go and light this torch, and then I'm going to go down that elevator with Doc Zoo to fight the opponent. This will also be... You can also tell that Doc Zoo is I don't remember if he was a Shade or a Phantom, but he's also about to time out. So I'm going to wait for him to catch up, and then we're going to go down this elevator. Once we're on the ground level, the elevator will rise back up again, where effectively an enemy, another of those Turtle Knights are going to pop up, Old Ironclad Knights. Now, he's going to be waiting for you on the way back. Now, there's actually a Shade I could have summoned, but instead I just summoned Mild-Mannered Pate. I wish I'd summoned the other guy, because he did look like he was pretty powerful, like Sellsword Luet, I believe is his name. But now that Mild-Mannered Pate is here, you have to get the White Sign Soapstone off him to summon him, and also go through that little thing and start his quest. And there he is, the Handyman, the last giant, and known to some of my friends as Sphincter Face. The last giant, or as I said, I'm calling him the Handyman, is pretty much the last of the giants, the last to die. By our hand, no less. So have fun killing the last of a species and completing genocide. Assuming there aren't any back where he came from. Now, this enemy is very simple and basic. He's not that tough. It's very easy to overpower him if you want. But if you want to get... But you should be warned, he does have good reach, and when he stomps, you'll see he cuts my health right in half. Don't let him step on you, and if he does step on you, heal immediately. Because you don't want to take a chance. His attacks have good reach all around, and yes, they're sweep-based. They will hit a bunch of enemies. You want to focus on his legs when you attack him. Lock onto his legs when you're going on the offensive. When you're on the defensive, instead, focus on his torso because it gives you a better read on his telegraphs. I'm actually going to take a serious beating from this guy once Doc Zoo gets taken down. That attack right there also does massive damage. I'm also going to... Yeah, Doc Zoo is down now. He got stomped on and crushed. And I... Pretty much, in order to continue Pate's quest, as I recall, you have to keep him alive through this fight. So this doesn't help that he isn't that tough against this boss, and the fact that I'm getting wailed on doesn't help either. Now, when he's doing those swings, staying between his legs isn't a bad option, but when he does those stomps, you need to get away. Getting flattened takes away your defensive mobility as well. Also, a good way to measure how well the fight's going for the sake of quest is measuring up the enemy's health bar to your allies. If your boss's overall health is greater than your allies, then chances are you want to kill the boss faster. Now, those swipes are very easy to dodge when you know what you're doing. I was having an off day here, but eventually he does go down. Yeah, his attacks can do damage, but they're also very predictable. Alright, you'll also notice that Pate, like several other of the NPCs, will actually do something at the end of a boss battle. For him, he actually moves straight for the boss gate. So after retrieving the boss soul and the key he drops, we can move forward. Alright, so on the way back, it turns out there's an old ironclad knight on the other elevator that can actually come back down and follow you or something. Anyways, after picking up a piece of leggings, I took a bad hit getting back up and I'm out of Estus, so I'm relying on life gems. You'll also see I summoned a Shade, Sellsword Luet. He isn't as helpful for this mission. Like, he's only there for the boss fight, so I lost my opportunity to use him. So he's actually going to be heading back once I'm, like, halfway towards the Pursuer area, where I'm going to hopefully get the Drangleic set, but instead I'm going to suffer for not resting and recovering. So yes, as you notice, this place is still empty from when I fought them with the aid of Wesley, as I recall, or maybe it was someone else. Possibly. No, it was Doc Zoo. Now here I find a Royal Swordsman, which I was surprised and excited as, well, part of my character's personal set is the gloves of the Royal Swordsman. So I ended up coming back here and farming their set. However, I never got the gloves, I'm sad to say, as there's only like 3 of them in this part of the Forest of Fallen Giants. Now, I don't know about the third bonfire area. I plan on checking that out. But however, I end up biting off far more than I can chew, and I end up getting killed. So, you know, this is about where the video ends. I want to also apologize, as this video took far longer than I initially intended. You also notice I took an arrow into the head, that's why I died. So, next episode, I'm going to restore my character and get my stuff back. Alright, this concludes episode 12, which was longer than I anticipated. I apologize for that. Check out the next episode later, folks.